The Chicago Bulls need to make Coby White their number one option for the rest of the season. Welcome into the Bulls Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, the one change that Chicago needs to make moving forward with the remaining 27 games, it's around Coby White, and I believe he needs to be the number one scoring option, the number one option for the offense for the rest of the season. Coming up, I'll explain everything you need to know and why. But if you guys want Coby White to be the number one option late in the fourth quarter, Bulls are in a tie ball game. If you want the ball in Coby White's hands, show me. Drop a like on today's video. Show number 0 some love. Show Coby White your support by liking today's show. So let's dive into some stats around Chicago and how their offense is shaking out so far this season. If we're looking at the shot attempts per game as it stands right now, there is a no doubt big three, in terms of who's taking the most shots. DeMar DeRozan's at 16.6, Vooch at 15.8, and then Coby White right there at 15.1. And I know what you may be saying, oh, Patrick, that is not that much far behind. It's only a shot and a half per game behind DeMar DeRozan, but I believe Coby White, that number should be up there at 17, 18, even if it's at 20 shots a game, I'd be all in on that. And now if we compare Coby White and DeMar DeRozan, because, at the end of these games, like we have seen that DeRozan, the ball is in his hands most of the time, and, it really hasn't worked out for the Bulls, best luck for the remainder of the season, or for the beginning of the season. But the stats on the year, Coby White has definitely upped his game, almost averaging 20 a game. That's up from only 9 points per game last season, and it's the efficiency for me. 39.7% from downtown. He's been an absolute killer from deep this season, and it's not just what he's done for the entire year. Specifically over the last 20 games, Coby White's been an absolute menace, and a lot of this had to do with Zach LaVine leaving the lineup. When Zach LaVine left the lineup, Coby White, his usage rate, his shots per game, they all went up, and that's why over the last 20 games, he's averaging 23.1 points per game, 6.2 assists, 5.5 rebounds per night on great efficiency as well. And I think usage rate is almost a better indicator of who is controlling the ball more than shot attempts per game. And as it stands right now, Coby White is number 2 on the Bulls at 22.8% of the time. He is on the floor. The ball is in his hands. But DeMar DeRozan sits at 24.1% as his usage rate, which is obviously number 1 on the team. I think that should flip. I would rather have Coby right around 25% and then maybe DeMar DeRozan at 21, 22. So you may be asking, why do the Bulls need to make this change? Why do they need to give Coby White more shots and take shots away from DeMar DeRozan at the end of these games? Well, the biggest reason is because Coby White, he's a young and up-and-coming star in this league, and he just needs the reps. He needs the late-game situations where it's a tie ball game, 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, and it's just him and Nikola Vucevic or Andre Drummond running a pick and roll, and he is the one creating open shots. Not only do I want it because of that, but also I think Coby White is better in those late-game situations than DeMar DeRozan. He gets the defense in rotations. He's able to attract double teams, and whether it's him going up there and hitting that patented floater that he loves, it's either him to a kick out to an open shooter, and the defense is in rotation, and it just leads to more open shots. And especially with the Bulls making this kind of playoff push down the stretch, I want those big-time moments, those big-time situations going to Coby White, because you also have to start thinking about the future if you're Chicago. Like, I love DeMar DeRozan, but we know who he is. He already has. His game's not going to take a big upgrade with him taking these shots down the stretch of games. I think the Bulls need to start thinking, Coby White's our star. Let's start building around him. Let's get him more shots. I think it could really, really improve this team, not only just for this year, but for years down the line. Now, one kind of, possession and play that I do think the Bulls need to completely cut out of their lineup is the Nikola Vucevic post-ups. Nikola Vucevic runs 3 post-ups per game, and it only results in 0.92 points per post-up. Just some context for you guys. Number 1 in the league is Kristaps Porzingis at 1.41 points per post-up. I just think the Bulls, they run this play too much. It's too often that they're just giving the ball to Vooch in the low block, and it's just ISO basketball, and there's no movement around him, and it's just Vooch trying to make a play, and I just don't think that's the most efficient way to play basketball, especially in 2024. If this was 1985, I would love to have a big man like Vooch you can just throw the ball down to. He can go make a basket happen, but I just don't think it's the most efficient play, and I think the Bulls need to seriously get away from that. But if you guys want to show the should-have-been all-star Coby White some love, and he should be the most improved player in the NBA this season, type his jersey number, flood the chat down below with those zeros, and show your point guard some love down in the comments. Coming up here in just a second, not only does Coby White need more shots, but also the two other young stars on the Bulls, Ayo Dosumnu and Patrick Williams. Coming up here in a second, I'll explain to you why both those guys need more shot attempts at the second half of the season. But first, guys, I got to let you guys know about today's sponsor, and that is Factor. And if you guys head to factormeals.com/BullsChat50 and use code BullsChat50, you will get 50% off. That's code BullsChat50 at factormeals.com/BullsChat50 to get 50% off. Factor is absolutely delicious. It's ready-to-eat meals. Make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, plus veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. What are you waiting for? Get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. Head to factormeals.com/BullsChat50 and use code BullsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code BullsChat50 at factormeals.com/BullsChat50 to get 50% off. I'll put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. Get hooked up today. Factor's absolutely delicious. I use it almost every single day. So let's break it down. Let's break down Ayo Dosumnu and Patrick Williams right here. These are their stats for the 2023 season, and they're both relatively the same. Listen, they both have been incredibly efficient this season, hence why they're both shooting around 40% from downtown, and we obviously know what they bring on the defensive side of the floor. Ayo being that true point of attack defender, and Patrick Williams being that wing that can switch 1 through 4 and really just impose his will defensively on that side of the floor. But again, with usage rate back with these two guys, I understand that the Bulls have a lot of mouths to feed on offense. You got Vooch, you got DeRozan. When Levine was playing, he had to get his shots. But these two sitting their usage rate at around 16%, I just frankly think that's unacceptable. I think that needs to be up close to 20%, just because mainly you have these young, talented stars kind of in the making, and if you don't, let them develop and kind of let them go through these growing pains, you are never going to see their max potential. And specifically about Patrick Williams, he just shows flashes of greatness. I understand the whole notion Passive P, his nickname, where he's, not necessarily scared to take jump shots or scared to be aggressive, but he just doesn't insert himself in the game as a lot of us think he should. But you see plays like this. You see the athleticism. You see the two-way ability. And plus, when he's knocking down that open three, he is one of the more unguardable players in the NBA because he can put the pump fake up, one dribble, get to the rack, and he's incredibly effective. And my take with Williams, the Bulls have an archetype in Patrick Williams that is every NBA GM's dream. And the Bulls, frankly, just need to develop it. Those 3-and-D guys, the same mold as a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown. We've seen what the Warriors have done with Jonathan Kuminga. Very similar to Patrick Williams. These freaky, hyper athletes, on the outside, on the perimeter. You just need to develop them. And now Jonathan Kuminga's averaging over 20 points per game, including being incredibly efficient from the field. I think the Bulls need to take that same step with Patrick Williams. And also, 44, he can take that all-star leap. I chose this picture specifically because we used to call P-Dub Baby Kawhi Leonard. And they do have very similar kind of similar play styles in their game where it's like they love just a basic catch-and-shoot three, but the rest of the one dribble, get to his mid-range, he can get to that turnaround jump shot in the lane, and they're also hyper athletes getting to the rack. So maybe he won't obviously take that Kawhi Leonard type of leap, but if you're telling me Patrick Williams could be an all-star in about 5 years from now, I wouldn't be shocked at all. It just comes down to kind of watering your own plants a little bit and kind of moving off the older guys on this roster and seeing what you have in these young stars and developing them. Another guy also, Ayo Dosumnu, Chicago's very own, born and raised in the city, played his college hoops at U of I. I really do think Ayo Dosumnu has the potential to be one of the better two-way role players in the NBA. Kevin O'Connor of The Athletic this past offseason, he compared Ayo to a Bruce Brown, and I liked the comparison at first. It made a lot of sense. But what we've seen from Ayo, especially over the last 20 or so games with Levine going out of lineup, he can be so much more than that. We have seen that shooting percentage from downtown absolutely skyrocket this year as he's shooting 41.7% from deep. His rookie season when he hit the league, he was at 37.6. Last year definitely took that step back at 31.2, and that's why we were kind of questioning if he could be, a future guard for the Bulls. But after this season, with his two-way ability, being that point of attack defender, and knocking down the open shot, I think Ayo Dosumnu really could be a guard on a championship team. And also, he just screams being a Bull for life. Like I said, he played his high school ball at Morgan Park in the city, was an absolute dog at Illinois, leading his team to the #1 seed in March Madness. Obviously, he did get upset in the round of 32, but I think Ayo wants to be here for life. He's on one of the more team-friendly deals in the NBA, and I think at the Bulls, I think you got kind of a hidden gem here that not many people in the NBA circle kind of really know about how special he's been over the past, month or so. So I want to keep developing these two, specifically Ayo and Patrick Williams, but you guys got to let me know. Out of these two players, I think Ayo Dosumnu is a better player right now, but I think Patrick Williams may have more potential. But you guys let me know. Who do you think has more potential? Type 12 for Ayo or type 44 for Patrick Williams? We've been doing a little bit more of a take style videos and more just talking hoops on the channel as of recently. So if you guys like these style videos, kind of not the whole typical news and rumor cycle, just hit the subscribe button on our channel. We're going to be posting out content every day for this rest of the season. So make sure you guys are subscribed. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.